students. This is in relation to your second lab. All right. So in this second lab, we'll play around a little bit in the interpreter again, but then we're going to move on to creating a script slash program in a separate file and then run it as a Python program. All right, so matter of fact, let's type in Python 3. All right, and so the main gist of this video and this lab is just going to be getting your feet wet in writing a program, right, or writing a script, specifically in Python, and how to run it in Linux, since that is what we will be using in the labs. And then we'll go from there. So in the beginning, we're just, again, working in the interpreter here. Just telling you specifically to type some stuff in there. So first, we're going to create some variables and assign some values to them. All right. And you're going to see that this is all related to creating a Celsius to Fahrenheit converter. Right. The first time I saw this function, or this small program, was actually in the book on the C programming language, and it's a classic book. All right. Let's see what I do here. Da-da-da. Okay. So what we're doing here, we're taking a Celsius temperature and we are creating a Fahrenheit conversion of that temperature, all right, and then printing out that conversion. All right, this here is Fahrenheit variable. Is just storing some specific conversion, and then we're printing that. Okay. Again, remember these are two arguments being fed into the print function. We know that there's two arguments because there are two things separated by a comma. All right. And so, all right, so this was just a simple little exercise, getting used to the Python interpreter again. Down here, you're tasked with creating a file called temp.py, right? So we're going to quit out of Python. Again, this is a built-in function here that has the function of just exiting from Python. Hit enter. All right, I'm going to hit clear here in my terminal. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and use the nano text editor. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to invoke the nano text editor or execute the nano text editor, which just means I'm going to open it. And I'm specifically going to open it with a new file called temp.py. Then I hit enter, and there we are. All right. And it says here I want to enter in those same commands as above, right? These ones here. All right, so that's what I'm doing. Okay. You'll see if you happen to be using something like Nano, you might see some coloring of some of the text, some styling. This is syntax highlighting, and what that basically means is when there's if the Nano text editor is aware of the programming language you're using, it'll identify certain keywords and certain special text and color code them just to make them stand out so that you can recognize certain parts of your code quicker, right? Certain elements of syntax quicker. I'm going to hit Control X and hit Y and hit Enter. All right. And then I am instructed to, excuse me, save your file, name it, blah, blah, blah. Then we're going to type in this here, Python 3 temp.py. And there we go. I get the same output that I had gotten when I ran it in its interpreter. Right, so first we ran these commands up here in the interpreter, and we got this output. Then we took these commands and typed them into a text editor and saved it as a file called temp.py. Then we invoked the Python 3 interpreter on the file temp.py. Right, so we're saying let's run temp.py with the Python 3 interpreter. And what did it do? It outputted to us the last statement there, that print statement, right? The result of that print statement. Okay. And I'll go down. Don't worry about this stuff so much right now. Okay. Let's open that back up, the temp.py. I'm hitting the up arrow on my keyboard until I get to nano temp.py. Hitting the up arrow just brings you through the history of your commands in the bash terminal, Linux. All right, hit enter. And here we are inside our file again. Now I'm going to go to the beginning of our file, hit enter a couple times, boom, hit the up arrow a couple times, and now I'm going to enter in this line here. Okay, this is called the hashbang or shebang. Right? Yes, that's actually the term for it. And what this is saying, right, is that this is the path to the executable, right, or the program that is going to run the following contents. Right? And we'll see why that's important in a few moments here. All right. Control X, hit Y, hit enter. All right. Now, doing things a bit out of order compared to the lab, but it'll serve a purpose. All right, so hit /temp.py. Permission denied. Permission denied. All right, so if you're working in Linux, you're going to have to do the following. Sudo chmod. What this means is act as an administrator to basically change permissions on a file. And what we're going to do is u plus x temp.py. All right, so I'm going to act as an administrator to change the permissions on, to change the following permissions. The user gets execute permissions on what file? Temp.py. Right? As an administrator, I change the permissions. Specifically, the user gets execute permissions on the following file, temp.py. Enter. You just enter in the password that you use to log in. I typed in the wrong password, of course. There we go. All right, so it's going to look like nothing happened here. But if we try that /temp.py again, it runs this time. All right, so no more permission denied. Okay. And let's see. I think that'll be enough for this video. Yes. All right, so as a quick review of what we went over, we briefly dabbled in the interpreter again, but then we took what we wrote in the interpreter and we transferred it over to a text file. Right? This text file is a Python script. This is a fully functioning script. It's a very simple script, but it is a script. As it is a script, it is also actually a program written in the Python programming language, and specifically we used Python interpreter inside of Linux using the command line interface, and then I used the nano text editor to create the script slash program for Python. Okay. At first, our script did not have the hash bang in the beginning here. All right, this information telling, telling, right, Linux what program we're going to use to interpret the following text, right? What programming language, what interpreter, compiler, whatever, right? We're specifically going to use the Python 3 interpreter to run the following. Okay. Before, we didn't have this in here, so we had to type Python 3 space temp.py. After we added the hashbang, then change the permissions. Remember, because we did not have permission to execute the file yet. But once we changed the permissions and added the hashbang in, we were able to run temp.py without having to specify what we're running it with. And it ran, and everything was successful. Okay, so now you should, if you're one of my students, you should be well on your way to being able to complete labs 1 and 2. I didn't do everything for you in these videos, but I gave you enough of the foundation, I believe, to do those labs. All right, so hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you soon.